the fastest way to growth is through acquiring other companies. And the same broker called me and said, are you interested in buying this company? And we're thinking 6.2 will sell you the whole business. I said, no, not interested. He said, well, do you want to give me an offer? I said, I'll give you 2. Now, you say 2 because the best time to buy something is when you don't need to buy it. Because you just, if you don't want to take my number, that's okay. We'll still be friends. So they said, oh, that's not, that is, sorry. They hung up the phone, and about a month later, they called me back. They said, listen, we've met with the family, and we think we could do it for 5.5, and then, no, 2. And about 3 months later, they called and said, we've been meeting with the family. The market's really tough right now, and they'd be willing to go 2.4. Clint West, who is my CEO now, he said, do it. I said, no, 2.2. I do it for 2.2. They hang up, but they called back in a half hour and said, okay, how soon could you close?
Okay, that's a good story. And the point about if you don't need to buy something, you don't want to buy it necessarily, you can offer truly the number that you think makes sense. The number that you say, well, gosh, if they give it to me for that, I would make it work. I would take it. And I know I'd be getting a fantastic deal, but I don't need it. I'm not really interested in it. It wasn't part of my original plan. I've got enough other things going on. And so you can give them take it or leave it very low price, not because you're lowballing them and trying to play a game, but strictly because at that number, it's too good of a deal for you to pass up. But anything more than that, it just doesn't make sense. Now, I am going to take issue with his first comment at the start of the video, which was the fastest way to grow is through acquisition. On the surface, yes, you can buy revenue maybe faster than you can build to that number. However, buying a business is no easy feat. One, finding one to buy, and 2, getting the deal all the way to the finish line is both challenging and time consuming and not easy to do. And I say that as somebody who has done it and who's worked with hundreds of other people who've done it. But the bigger problem is after you buy it, it's very challenging to take over a business, absorb everything that it does, learn how to do it yourself, and then work on slowly improving it. Buying multiple businesses and combining them together, even if it's the same kind of business, even if you're combining 2 accounting firms, right? They can have different culture, different methodology, different processes, different ways of doing almost everything that make putting them together and making them work seamlessly and trying to have any kind of cost savings a very tough process. And along the way, you're going to lose clients, you're going to lose staff, and you're going to lose a lot of sleep. And so this idea of growth through acquisition is not nearly as easy in reality as it seems on a spreadsheet, which is why a lot of roll-ups don't end up working out. A lot of private equity firms that try to roll up multiple companies into one bigger deal that they can then flip to the public equities markets don't work out, and those deals fall apart in the end. Even some of the biggest mergers, AOL and Time Warner, right? On the surface, there was some logic to it, but it ultimately completely failed, and those 2 companies separated again in the end. And that's one of many, many, many examples. So growth through acquisition is not nearly as easy or as simple as it sounds. In many ways, if you build a company that has a great product or service and you can grow organically, although it may not grow quite as fast as buying that revenue, the longevity, the profitability, and the lack of integration problems may far outweigh that slightly faster revenue growth.